All right, we are getting ready for the next stretch here. The I don't know, 17th hour program.
God, you've been doing this for a long time.
Oh my gosh, this is hour number 7.
Jeez.
7 of this. So that means we're down to the last 4 hours. And when we get to the last 4 hours, if you want to have a party and you're going to have a 4-hour party, you bring in Brian Esrat.
Heck yeah, here I am for the home stretch.
Nice. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being part of us.
You're very welcome.
We've got David Hoyt is going to lead this section, and then Brian and I are going to talk. We've got section number 2. So now a slight change in the programming for those that were looking at the video, and we're going to come up with some really intelligent and intellectually stimulating conversation.
Between now and Dave Hoyt's video, we will come up with something.
And unfortunately, we're going to get to the time of the night for those of you watching where we're probably going to now start running behind schedule. I've done super keeping us fairly tight for the first 7 hours.
Dude, I'm here. I will just
crack that whip and keep
We're getting back on schedule. We're doing it. Let's roll Dave's video right now.
Okay, we're going to go David Hoyt right here, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Well, good evening, DJs across the world. My name is David Hoyt, and I haven't done a lot on DJing TV, so let me introduce myself to those that don't know me. I'm a full-time single-operator DJ here in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been a DJ for 11 years and full-time for the last 7. I'm from New Orleans, so I'm a hoodat, and I absolutely love what I do. I've spoken at 2 Las Vegas DJ shows and attended many conventions and workshops in order to make my performance better, and that's what I want to talk to you about tonight, our performance. So what's exciting about your performance and about my performance is it's your performance, my performance. Nobody else can do it. I think this aspect of performance and training is one of the things that's holding back the mobile DJ community as a whole, as well as holding back individual DJs from being able to charge what they're worth and what they need to be able to go full-time in order to provide for themselves and their families. Now, many DJs come through the profession, through the door of programming and mixing music, spending hours and hours rehearsing and coming up with mixes that are unique to them, and that's awesome. Music mixing is definitely one of the main jobs of a DJ, duh. But in my opinion, to be a great mobile DJ, it has to be about so much more than that. A lot of times it seems like DJs don't want to hear that. They love the mixes they create and the music, and they discount anything that comes after that idea, but it's the truth, and I hope you'll give me a chance here in the next few minutes to explain why. Being a great mobile DJ, and especially a great wedding DJ, means that the last few hours of the night you get to be the DJ, but for the 3 to 5 hours leading up to that, you really need to be so much more. You have to work on all aspects of your performance when you are doing weddings or corporate events or even just a backyard birthday party. You need to be actually be able to perform and not just mix music. You need to know how to speak properly on a microphone, and you need to know when to speak on the microphone. You need to know how to find those little moments that happen and highlight them and make them truly special. And you can't find that on YouTube or on a DVD. You can learn a lot from those sources. Heck, you might even find a little nugget of truth or some help on some dumb DJ Facebook group. But becoming better than you currently are requires you to do what you do in front of somebody that knows how to train you to be better. Not to be like them, the trainer, but to bring out the best in you. But the sad part for me is that so many DJs seem to think that they don't need it. In fact, DJs on the whole are as bad as a 5-year-old. What do I mean? Well, yesterday my daughter Lacey came up to me in the early afternoon, like she does many days, and said, "Daddy, I'm tired." And I responded with, "Well, the only thing that's going to fix that is to take a nap." To which she responded, "But I don't want to take a nap." And then she went back to her room to play. And it got me thinking. I read DJ Facebook groups all the time, and DJs are constantly asking, how can I raise my rates? And how can some of you charge what you do so much? And those of us that are doing better than average typically say, well, you got to do some training, get into a workshop, go to a conference, learn more. And it's almost always met with the eyes glazing over and the DJ saying, yeah, but I don't want to do any training. Can't there just be some 2 or 3 minute video on YouTube that I can watch that'll lead me into making the big bucks? I thought about saying that this doesn't apply to those of you that are watching because you're here and you care, But I stopped myself because I started thinking about all the workshops that are promoted that never fill up or never come to be. It boggles my mind why the people who put on DJ performance workshops have to work as hard as they do to get people to attend. As far as I'm concerned, every single time one of them opens up a workshop for sale, it should sell out immediately and have a waiting list. I mean, think about the thousands and thousands of DJs in the US. The ADJA estimates there's somewhere around 120,000 DJs in the US alone, and yet we celebrate when Mobile Beat gets 1,000 attendees. The workshops that are available max out at 8 to 20 people a piece, and sometimes the workshops don't even happen because of a lack of interest. It's a shame, and it really shouldn't happen. But why don't DJs think they need training? Well, feel free to ask yourself that. We do our little wedding, and as we're loading up, the guests pass by and say, "Hey, you did great, we had fun." And we puff out our chests and say, "Hey, thanks, I had fun too." And we go home and we go onto the DJ Facebook groups and post the photos of our setup and post the 4 photos where everyone is on the dance floor. But yet if you notice those 4 photos where everyone's on the dance floor, everyone is in lines and they're going to the left, to the left, to the left, and kick, now kick, now kick. Anyway, we get on the Facebook groups and talk about how great we are. We justify how great we are because our clients tell us that we're great. We believe it. We want to believe it. It feels good to believe it. And to a certain extent you should, and be happy that you did a job well enough to be praised for it. But here's the thing. What in the world do your clients know about judging your performance at their wedding? With all due respect, they have no idea what they're talking about. We know that many of them are hiring a DJ for the first time ever. They don't have any idea what you messed up on, didn't mess up on, and more importantly, they don't know how good their event could have been if they had just gone with someone that has more training than you. Now look, I had probably a couple of years ago now that I met with, and we had lunch, so we got to kind of dive deeper into what they wanted and what they'd seen, and I'd asked them the question, had they been to any weddings recently and seen anything that they liked, and they talked about that they'd gone to her cousin's wedding, and that it was okay, but it didn't feel like the wedding had any sort of flow, and they actually even said that they knew that the DJ didn't really do anything to help that. And they even said that he appeared to be more reactive instead of proactive, and that they didn't really like that. And at all times, like, nobody really knew what was going on, and it seemed like people needed to come up to the DJ and tell him, you know, "Hey, can we move on to this next thing?" And they didn't really like that. And I said, "Wow, that's interesting." And then they said, almost like they're trying to talk themselves into it, "Yeah, but, I mean, at the end, he played some good music and we danced and we had fun," and she's hitting him and he's hitting her. Yeah, we had fun. And I just said, "Guys, stop. Look, I want you to remember that you had fun at your cousin's wedding. I want you to. But right now, you're a bride that's planning her wedding. So I want you to take the fact that you remembered that nothing flowed right and that the DJ could have really done a lot to help that. And I want you to use that on your DJ search, whether you hire me or not." I think in the end they ended up not hiring me. But the point remains, you know, stop them whenever they want to just continue to go, "Oh, but we had fun. Because, I mean, that's what people should remember, but at the end of the day, that's not what's most important. Now, when it comes to our customers, these are the same people that you were talking about when they first contacted you, because the first question they asked was, "How much do you charge?" And we laugh and we say, well, I guess they have to ask that because they've never hired a DJ before. Bless their little hearts. They just don't know what else to ask. But yet, at the end of their night, we consider them to be the experts on judging our DJ performance. It doesn't work like that. These are the same people that knew so little about hiring a DJ that all they knew to ask at the beginning was price. And I don't say that to make fun of the customer. I say that to make fun of us, myself included. I can very easily sit back and take the compliments and feel that I'm doing a great job because, hey, my customers told me they had a blast. Now, I'm sure everyone watching does a more than passable job. Your customers do have fun. They have every right to tell you you're great, but that's not why you should seek out training. You should seek out training because you know you can be better. You want to get better. See, here's the funny thing. Once you start doing some training, you begin to learn all the things you didn't realize you didn't know. If you run around just taking the words of your customers, well, you stay ignorant. because you're relying on the testimony of someone who has no idea how good their event could have been. Now, it's scary to say, I want to open myself up to training. I want to learn the things that I don't even know that I don't know. It takes humility. It takes wisdom. Now, a lot of DJs push back against training and say dumb things like, well, what does he know? He doesn't even DJ anymore. He's just some snake oil salesman. Or even dumber, people that go to those workshops just learn how to do it the trainer's way, so there's a bunch of mini robot versions of the trainer running around. That's ridiculous. Look at this guy. Who's this guy? Anybody have any idea who this guy? Feel free, you can type it in the comments or whatever. You probably don't know. His name's Larry Moss. Who's he? Any ideas? Larry Moss? Larry is the acting coach to the stars. He has coached Helen Hunt in As Good as It Gets, for which she won an Oscar. He coached Hilary Swank in Million Dollar Baby and Boys Don't Cry. She won Oscars for both of those. And he's coached Leonardo DiCaprio in the following things. The Aviator. He won a Golden Globe Award and the Academy Award nomination. The Departed. Golden Globe nomination. Blood Diamond. Golden Globe and Academy Award nomination. As well as Shutter Island, Inception, and J. Edgar, SAG, and Golden Globe Award nominations. Leo DiCaprio said this about Larry Moss. Larry's unwavering commitment to his craft, his encyclopedic knowledge of the arts, and his sincere enthusiasm for the art of acting itself makes his process exciting, inspiring, and truly transformational as an actor. I would recommend his technique and process not only to the first-timers, but also seasoned veterans of the craft. He's also coached Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile, for which he won an Oscar, and countless others. Now, these are some of the best actors in the world. Why would they need coaching? And when you think about Leo's movie, did Leo play the exact same character in all of those movies? I mean, Larry Moss coached him, right? I mean, he must have played exactly the same thing. No, he was different. That's what a good coach is going to do. They're going to pull the best out of you that they can. And it's hilarious to me when DJs on Facebook groups blast the trainers in the DJ industry and say that all they're doing is turning them into mini versions of them. All these DJs that haven't spent a minute in training with any of these trainers, all of a sudden are experts on what does and does not happen in a workshop. I'd rather listen to the people that have gone through the workshops. Guys like this guy, Jim Cerrone. He said this, with the inspiration, constructive criticism, and encouragement you all get in a Marbecca workshop, your performance will improve overnight. And Mark and Rebecca will teach you concepts, techniques, and exercises that will help you continue to improve and stay fresh. How do I know? Because that's what happened to me, and I keep coming back for more. Stand in front of that crowd and speak with confidence. The secret to long-term success as a DJ is continued education and professional development. That's what you'll get from Mark and Rebecca Farrell's workshops. I wouldn't be the perfect host without them. Now, much like Leonardo DiCaprio, if you watch any of Jim's videos online, and I recommend that you do, you would say to yourself, that guy's great. He doesn't need any coaching. Why would he do that? And that's why he does it. Because he knows that he doesn't know what he doesn't know. He knows that as a true performing artist, your art is never perfect or never good enough. Here's what it comes down to. To be a great DJ and MC, you have to approach it as a performing artist. Not a guy that spins records at a party, but a performing artist. So much great stuff can come from approaching our job that way. So do everything that you can to go get some training. There are many opportunities, and I think most of you know what they are, but the short list is the entertainment experience put on by Bill Herman and Jason Jones, any of Randy Bartlett's workshops and the 1% Solution DVDs, they're awesome, any of Peter Mary's workshops, join a local Toastmasters group, and then I come to the Marbecca Method workshops put on by Mark and Rebecca Farrell that Jim talked about just a minute ago. I personally have done 5 workshops with Mark and Rebecca. The workshops I have done with them are the best things I have ever done for my business, without question. And here's what I'll tell you. Don't take them to say that you took them and get their certificate. I've taken every level of workshop that they offer, and I'm not done. Not by a long shot. I look forward to getting back into another workshop to learn more, because there's always something else to learn, and the Farrells are going to get the most out of me where I am, regardless of what level workshop I'm taking, and they're going to turn me into the best David Hoyt that I can be. Now, But the trainings, yes, they cost money. Yes, you will probably have to travel for them. Yes, you will have to make time for them. And I know all of us are busy running around, doing meetings and this and that, and it can get kind of hectic, but schedule training into your schedule. Like anything that's worthwhile or good for you, you have to make it a priority, and you have to make it happen. So if you're 5 and you're tired and you have come to the realization that taking a nap is the only way you're going to make you less tired, and if you want to get better, charge at higher rates, and most importantly, delight your customers more than they ever thought possible, you're going to have to do the real work. The real work. Guys, thanks for watching tonight, and I hope you got something out of my talk, and more importantly, I hope you do something about it. Thanks.
We are back. Yay!
Right on.
David Hoyt talking about training, talking about investing in yourself, I think is a good way to describe that. How he wrapped things up there.
It was very well received in the chat room. People really liked what he had to say.
That's Greenville, Tennessee is Arms DJ. Arm DJs? ARMDJS, I think. Anyway, armdj.com or armdjs.com. Appalachian Regional Mobile DJ. Anyway, you guys check. Yeah, Arm DJs. You guys can check it out. Check it out. It's out there. But Robbie does that one in the summertime, and then you've got Midwest DJ Live that's happening in March or April.
I think May this year.
May. That's right. Early May. And that's over in
Milwaukee or close to it.
Yeah, basically it's like almost the dungeon. It's like a suburb.
It's Oak Creek. Yeah, I could walk to the place really.
And then you've got DJ Expo and lots of cool stuff. So we got a couple of minutes here before we bring Howie in. Howie's going to be up next. Brian, I wanted to take a couple minutes now. You have been talking and posting a lot of videos in the last few days about speech things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, someone had chimed in and said, "Could you do some videos on him sing?" And I thought, God, what haven't I already talked about with this? So I just kind of ran with it, and I talked about some of the things that influenced me, which are more stand-up comedy than your typical DJ MC sports announcer kind of guy. And then that spawned other videos with the comments in the video. One thing that I had mentioned in the video is one of the phrases that I don't say is "ladies and gentlemen." The other phrase I don't say is "at this time." I suggested that you record yourself. Chris Becky actually suggested that I present this to folks. Record yourself and then edit yourself. Figure out how you can make whatever you said a little shorter. Sometimes there's a situation where you have a first dance and then you have another dance where you invite everybody onto the floor. You could say something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the dance floor is open." Or you could get rid of the "ladies and gentlemen" and "at this time" and phrase it differently and say something more like, "Ben and Amy would like to invite everyone to come out and join them on the dance floor," which sounds a little more personal. I think I was talking about trying to be more personal. Then somebody chimed in and said, "Well, I don't say 'ladies and gentlemen,' I hate that. I say 'friends and family.' Is that better?" And I thought, no, because
it's a variation, but
right. It's a variation. And I don't have anything against the words "ladies and gentlemen." What I was kind of talking about is trying to get rid of repetitive phrases.
Yes.
And make it sound more natural and more sincere. So yeah, the video just kept spawning off like that. And I almost did another one. Somebody chimed in on the last video I did and said, "Well, this is what I say. It's better than 'ladies and gentlemen, at this time.' Hey, I've got great news for you. The dance floor is now open." No, I hate that too. I mean, I'm just being honest. I really don't like that. And the scenario I gave, it just happened to me. When I was on my flight from Milwaukee to LA or Orange County, I guess, for NAMM, unfortunately I ended up on Frontier Airlines. I don't know if you've been on Frontier lately, but they're getting really bad. The seats are crummy. You have to buy every soda. They charge you like $3 for a little crappy glass of soda with ice in it. Just not cool at all. And as we were descending, they get on the microphone and they said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I've got some fantastic news to share with you. And I'm thinking to myself, we are the 1 millionth flight of Frontier. We're getting free airfare for life. Or, or maybe, I don't know, Elvis has been resurrected. He happens to be on the flight. He's going to play a song for us.
Well, yeah, that's what everyone
That
likes.
would be exciting news. But it wasn't that. It was a credit card they offered, you know? And I'm like, when they said, I have some exciting news, I thought, ooh, hit me. It was a shitty credit card thing,
You
you
could
know?
save 4%.
And you can earn miles. For every $4 million you spend, you get 15 miles.
And you'll enjoy it.
It's the classic case of overpromising and under-delivering. And I think when you do that, you lose people. And it's all about canned speech, too. I don't like that. Just say what's on your mind, but say it eloquently. And eliminate those repetitive words that you use. And it's hard to edit yourself when you're at a gig because I feel like the response that you get from the music you play is going to be much greater than the response that you get, noticeable response that you get from what you say on the microphone. So sometimes the best way to do this is to just record yourself, listen to it, and edit yourself. And if you're not getting anywhere with that, the other thing you can do, and it's happened to me, is have someone else listen to you and point out what you say. And it makes you aware of it. Mike Ryan from Frankenstein, and I mentioned this in the video. I did a video on the Frankensteins for him, and he really liked it. And he said it was a great video, but I did want to point out to you that you said 30 times in a 3.5 minute video. I thought, no way. Went back and listened. Sure enough, it's exactly what I did. So now I don't say
For sure.
I make a pause, and you'll notice when I'm speaking, I pause before I cultivate my next thought. I don't have to fill it with noise.
Right.
You know who does that? And I learned it from Howard Stern. He does that. He makes those pauses. And it's okay to have that dead air. It's better than or and stuff like that,
Yes.
or whatever people say to fill that space. So yeah, it's kind of stuff I was talking about.
Cool. Very nice. We are going to pop over, put our sponsor spot up, and then we'll be right back with Howie. Live just with myself here, so you guys aren't on. We're trying to get Howie's microphone up and running here. Howie, your mic's not turned on yet. And then we'll be, hang on a sec. Let's see, I've got to change here. There we go. There we go. Now we can continue the show. The show can keep going. Howie, microphone lower left corner maybe? The microphone isn't engaged. So grab that in the lower left corner there, I believe it is. And you can pop that on and we'll get you going. For those of you who are just joining us, we've got 6 hours in the books. Is that correct? Oh my gosh. So, yeah, Howie, the mic isn't turned on yet. So we'll just give him a second to get that turned on. Because I can see the mic, and it's not, which we've had more problems with getting cameras on than microphones on tonight as we've been going through. So we'll be back with Howie and Brian in just a moment. If you're just joining, holy cats, Jimmy's there. You haven't seen Jimmy's here. Yep. So we'll get. Yeah, it's still not showing up. There will be. Yes, Bon Jovi is now on deck. That is correct. I'm trying to put something new up each little time. I was going through it. I've got quite a few. No, he should be able to hear us. I think he can hear us. It's just that that mic location. That that little arrow, Howie, that's next to the microphone. If you click on that, if you're on the desktop, that should give you the option to turn a mic on. If you can find that little arrow, that little asterisk arrow. I don't know. It found it the last time pretty well, but it's not. No, you're not muted here. There's not muted on this side here. I'm just checking different areas and such. Oh, there we are. Hey, we will flip flop right to. There we are. Howie's with us. Yay!
Let me turn off my monitor. I have 3 computers on.
Yep, go ahead. Weird.
So I don't get the echo. There we go.
There you go.
There
Good to see
we
you.
are. I'm gonna tip a little bit so Brian, you and I are at the very top. Don't sit.
I'm on again.
We are. Yeah, the 3 of us are on. So
What's up, Howie?
Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, guys.
Good to see you, my friend.
Have you been hanging out with
see
us
you, Brian.
all afternoon today?
Yeah, I was. I've been practicing because I had that oral surgery and they inadvertently fractured my jaw.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
read that.
I hope I sound normal, but my lips they're like frozen almost. It's hard to even smile.
Wow.
I got my list. I'll go through it quick so I don't hold you up.
Yeah. Let's jump right into it now. Howie, tell everybody what your list is.
Okay, these are the top 5 nuggets that I have gathered from DJN TV and The Insider in 2016.
Nice. And all of them, of course, are Brian sharing all of our insight on Tuesday nights.
Probably not mine.
Actually, I don't like to brag, but they're all about me. No.
The show I did. Yeah, I was on his show and I did a really good job.
Okay, number 5. I'm gonna have to use the cheaters too.
That's quite all right.
That thing really affected my eyes and vision. Anyway, number 5 is the networking, about how we support each other here. I've made so many friends here, and I've got friends in California, Canada, down in Florida, over in the UK. Now, I can't go to their events any more than they can come to mine, but we always like and make a comment on whether it's a video or a post or something. It keeps them up at the top of whatever feed on social media that they're using.
Yes.
So I do that for them. They do that for me, and it helps keeps everyone, it's just good for everyone. And I can't say enough about it. It's, we all have a shared passion, and I've made some great friends. Okay. Number 4, it's got to be the mix shows. And I'm really looking forward to that because I remember this afternoon you mentioned February, you're going to be doing more of that.
Yes.
And the thing of it is for the cheap price of admission for the Insider, I can pause that. I can save that and pause that because, like you said, the music goes away. We can't do that live, but on the Insider, I can do that and actually practice some of the techniques. And that to me was the real gem. So number 3, it's an old saying that was taught to me by my master when I was an apprentice electrician and electronics tech. It says, I don't know everything, but I know the people that do, and they're on here. You got a great group of people, and they're only a phone call, a private message on the Insider, or a private message, and they're there with the answer.
Yeah.
It's such a great diversity of talent in this room, and they give freely. And that's why I love giving back. Like a lot of people talk about my videos and, you should make money on that. You should patent this and that. So at this age, I'm giving it away. It's a joy.
At my age, I give it away. So
Yeah, you do though, and I mean, and
Yeah.
you're very inspiring, and I got to tell you, you inspired me to come on. I am in a tremendous amount of pain, even even to just smile with a
brother,
crooked jaw. So,
thank you so much for joining us. Really,
oh man, I wouldn't miss it for the world. The show must go on. So,
that's right.
here we are, down to number 2, and this goes to you, John. So, I love the curating of the topics that you have here. Um, they're concise, what you can fit in a half hour or an hour. And then I'll write down little buzzwords, key things that I can either Google later, or down in the comments, often there's links to something else and I can go further in depth in it. And it really sparks my interest. And I got to tell you, last time I talked with you, John, and I revealed that I'm balls to the wall busy, in my season, and I don't do any advertising, and really don't. I haven't had to, but I did do some this year because of what you said about the targeted advertising by zip code.
Mhm.
That is brilliant. And the reason I did that is because watching one of your shows when you had about the projectors and the living monograms. I've been doing gobos for years, and that's what everybody does around here. So I'm kind of keeping up with everybody. But I want to stand out, so I got a projector, but I wanted to get a dual purpose one. And I got a really nice one, the one that was recommended. And when somebody asked me, "Hey, do you do movie nights?" My first instinct was, "Oh, sure I do. Of course I do."
Well, yeah, duh, yeah,
A lot of my events are day picnics and pool parties at these mansions and stuff like that. So I got the nights open.
sure.
Now I've booked 5 movie nights.
Wow.
It's like
Wow.
extra income. I hadn't even thought about it. And so anyway, well, the bottom line is the projector's paid for. So I bought a second.
Right. Nice.
I had to buy a second.
Awesome.
And all right, number one is my favorite, and just because I was able to help someone, but I wanted to share it back with you people. It gets back to what I mentioned here about just a message away. I put a message on the Insider about a wedding I was doing, and how stressed the bride was that her dad died, and her father, who hadn't been in her life for 30 years and never knew her for the first 30 years of her life, was going to do this father-daughter dance. I'm like, what do? I picked out some generic type songs, something sweet. She didn't want anything that would evoke memories, of something that never was. And John said, oh, that's a great idea. We're going to do a show. And Brian and John, you guys did a show on it. And the golden nuggets on the side in the chat room, and what you folks did was validate the songs that I had picked out. There were the songs there. Okay, so I was able to pitch a song to her. But the big nugget was when Brian said, why do you have to announce it? I mean, I'm like Brian. It's like, say what you mean without being mean. Just say what you mean.
Yeah.
No, seriously. And so I said to her, I said, why do we even have to announce this? Why don't you get up, walk over to the table, grab your father's hand, lead him to the dance floor, do the dance, be done with it, sit down, and then we move on to the next event in the schedule. She jumped up, gave me the biggest hug, and she's a tiny little thing. I thought, It doesn't end there, folks. If you act now, we'll cut out a payment. No, seriously. She went on social media, and she's got thousands of friends. She gushed and gushed about how this DJ Howie relieved her biggest stressor and her biggest fear about her wedding. And she is calm and comfortable now and knows she's going to have a fantastic event. All from that little thing, and I want to give credit where credit's due, and it's my friends here, my new friends at DJN TV and The Insider. And it's not over. She gushed so much, her friend booked me for a wedding.
Nice.
And then a parent booked me for a sweet 16. And I haven't even done her wedding yet. So
Isn't that great?
life is good.
Fabulous.
Life is good. And I just thought I would share. This is what I'm getting. And I know that I just have a feeling that this is going to be an endless thing. And I have not walked away from a show without at least one nugget. I really haven't. It's been wonderful. And I just want to say thanks and share my top 5.
Well,
Can I share something? Can I share something real quick? And I'm not trying to, lay it on thick here, but the most inspiring show I ever saw on DJN TV, forgive the dog, is when you were on, Howie, for my slots when I was in Italy, because I watched that. I didn't watch it when it was on because of the time difference, but I did watch it. And one thing I will say about you is that you inspire me because you're always seeing the positive in something. Instead of looking at it and saying, well, I could have gotten more out of that or whatever, you look at it and say, I got something out of that. And that something is worth something. That is positivity. You and Mara Luna are both like that. You guys really inspire me. You're positive people, and I really appreciate you being part of the community.
Thank you very much, Brian. I actually feel the same way about you. I mean, we both have our disabilities, like me with the bionic leg and you with that. And then that thing with the roller car that just goes on. And the trucks, it's like, oh, this is a brother from a different mother here. I love it. I really do.
And for those of you who are like getting ready to vomit right now because we're all just like confessing our love for each other, I apologize, but it's
bromance.
It's a bromance. Oh, Howie, thank you for coming on with us tonight.
All righty.
Good stuff.
Great to smile with you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll be back.
Hey, and I have a new tagline. You guys are always saying practice and enjoy.
Yep.
I'm going to say participate and enjoy.
Thank you, Howie.
Thank you, Howie.
Thank you. Good night, guys.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much. We'll be
Thanks
back in
again.
just a couple of minutes with Jeremy. We're going to be talking about the lighting world here in just a couple of minutes. All right, we're live here, guys.
You're welcome.
We are here to talk lighting. We're here to talk all sorts of cool thing lighting. If you've been hearing people talk today about projectors and gobos and monograms all coming from it, this is the man who brought a lot of that knowledge to us here on DJN TV. Jeremy, good evening, and how are you doing, my friend?
Good evening. Very good. Very good. So I see you're not even going to try and say my last name this time.
Martorano.
Very good. Yay. All right. Everybody give him a round of applause.
I've been practice.
That's fun.
Oh, so we're gonna go because you've got the full screen. So we're gonna pop this to full screen so that you will be the main one on the screen, and then you can do your share screen and such and talk about this, and we'll get you going here right away. So you have about that 12 to 13 minutes to share.
All right. Let's see if I can make it all fit. You ready?
Go.
All right. Let's see if we can make this work. Share the screen.
Yay!
And there we got full screen.
Perfect. That's it.
Cool. All right. Like to make things look pretty. All right. So
just a second. We're covering up a bottom there. I'm gonna try to see if I can knock that out. There we go. Okay. Now we're good.
okay, cool. So there's a lot of topics here. I don't know if we're going to get to them all, but I'm going to try. All right. So I thought about some really cool things to talk to everybody about. And it's really just, I wanted to talk about some different creative uses for uplighting, stuff that maybe you haven't thought about, or just take it to the next step. Also, too, these could be a lot of great upsells for you, either for weddings or corporate clients. And I'm going to try and walk through some of these. So first off, I just want to talk about some of the basics for lighting design, and this to like define the space. And when we talk about symmetry for uplighting, it's kind of the basic right here, where you want to have a balanced approach in your room. You want to make sure it's not too heavy on one side, not too light, and that's a good way to sell it as well. So if you look at a room, you could say, okay, this room needs 12 to 20 lights, and even at 12, you look at 1 in each corner and 2 on each wall. And that's kind of like our minimum that we usually approach it at. But most of the rooms get up to 16 and 20 lights. But that's a nice way to kind of explain to your clients, saying, it's a nice symmetry balance. Again, every client just wants that peace of mind to know that it's going to look nice and not shoddy. So now when you get into a big room, think about a big cavernous room. Sometimes if it's only a party or a wedding of maybe 100 people, but it's a room that should be holding 400 or 500 people, then you don't want to accentuate the big, the large size of the room. So what I say is skip the corners when you're doing uplighting in those big rooms. Just have uplighting on the center of the walls that are more around the actual area of activity. This will create more of you're defining the space, so it'll create that big cavernous room to look a little more intimate. Also, too, when you're going outside as well, you can use uplighting to define the space. And say, you're in a backyard, there's a lot of yard back there. You could light up every tree and go further back in the yard. But if there's nothing happening back there, then you don't let your guests wander off and into an area that you don't want them.
Yeah.
So you can use this, and maybe this is another side patio. There's nothing going on over there, so don't put a light over there. Your lighting will create kind of a virtual wall, even in an outdoor event. So that's some of the little tips about defining the space. Mm-hmm. Next up, you want to talk about what I like to call camera eye for the lighting guy or girl, let's face it. So when we're putting down uplighting, and any lighting, but really when you're putting down uplighting, again, I want you to be thinking about not only what looks good in the room to you, but think about the photographer's eye. Think about that camera eye. You want to be able to, and this is where we're getting into focal points, you want to be able to put your lights behind the focal points of the event. So if it's a wedding, say it's going to be the head table, the sweetheart table, the cake, the grand entrance doors. You want to make sure you cover all your bases, and then you kind of fill in the gaps around the room. Because everywhere that photographer is going to be taking a photo, you want to make sure your lights are there. This is definitely a great tip for when you're getting, if you want to get nice professional photos for your portfolio, make sure your lights are where the camera are. Does that make sense, John?
Yeah, it does. It does.
So those are just some of the kind of the basic tips. I just want to talk about the overall concept of lighting. I think a lot of people have it kind of covered, but I just want to make sure because, if you take it up to the level and if you explain to your clients that this is why you're doing it, then they're really going to like and appreciate that.
That's huge, yeah, because you're kind of giving them a reason behind it instead of making it sound like some helter-skelter, just random thing that anybody can do.
Exactly. Yeah. You throw some knowledge out or drop some knowledge on them, they'll love it. Yeah. So this next line item was kind of an interesting event that we encountered last year, and we've never really done a deaf wedding before, but this one kind of turned up, and you might not do one in your whole career, but when you do, this is a neat little trick, so you're ready for it. So obviously in the deaf community, when you're trying to get people's attentions, you really can't just jump on the microphone and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention?" Right? It's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So in the deaf community, they're used to using visual cues. And one of the visual cues that you can do is, just in a room, typically people will flash the light switch to get people's attention. And then they know to, turn their attention to you. So this is how we use the uplighting. We actually just, during dinner, we would kind of rhythmically flash them on and off, nothing strobing, but just kind of on, off, something like that. And then it got their attention, and everybody faced for the speeches.
Sure.
Who's laughing over there?
Brian is.
I'm sorry. I'm reading comments. Jimmy said play Def Leppard, so.
Oh, that's bad.
Jimmy's being
all right. Anyway, so I thought that was just kind of a really fun, creative way that we used to for a deaf event.
How did you handle tangent time? How did you do the sound then for that? Did you have additional bass for the music?
Yeah, actually, we partnered with the DJ company, and they handled all of that. And yeah, they brought in extra bass for that, and yeah, because that's how they feel the music.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool, very rewarding event to be a part of. It's just really awesome. And of course, they had sign translators, some people signing up there, and it's really neat.
Did you spotlight the interpreters?
Yeah, that actually, we didn't really need a whole lot of spotlighting. It was a good venue that had good zone lights. Nice. We could just turn them up. But yeah, definitely you want to make sure that they're seen.
Yep. Neat. I've not thought about that.
Yeah, I never did either until this past year. Mm-hmm. So next one, let's talk about making the room come alive for the happy couple. This is a neat little trick that we'll do. A lot of times when you're selling up lighting, first off, you can sell it as with color changes throughout the night, right? So you say, okay, or when guests enter, it's going to be amber. During dinner, it's going to be purple or amber, whatever, and then multicolor for dancing, right? So that's kind of the standard way we do that. And then during the grand entrance, we would always, if it's amber lights, and we'll kind of flash them when people come in or go multicolor, we'll kind of add a little bit of extra color changing to certain events. A little twist that we found that works really well is to kind of have all the lights off during the event or during when guests are walking in. So it just looks like a plain old boring ballroom. And then as the bride and groom come in or the couple come in, that's when all the uplights, everything comes on. And, if you use this phrase right here, we're going to make the room come alive when you walk into the room. What couple isn't going to like that?
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So here's a little video, and you can see it's the most ugly, boring ballroom. Hopefully it's not too loud.
No, I think we're okay.
It sounds good.
Okay.
Is that Aldo Nova's Fantasy? Oh, no, Rush.
So there you go. That was kind of the basic, So people really weren't expecting that.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool.
Yeah, it's just a neat little experiment to do with that.
What I really like about that is you have created such a focal point right in the middle. That is so important. I think a lot of DJs miss that whenever they try to do decorative lighting. They don't hit that focal point, and you hit it dead on, and it was really nice.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, it's focal points, as you saw before. Definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just use that for your weddings. It's just a nice little touch for sure. For corporates as well, we can go on and do a lot of the same premise here, where you can kind of spice up those boring corporate breakout sessions. I don't know if anybody's ever been a part of these. It really is just going from one boring little breakout or little mini ballroom with all air walls to another, and it's just tables, and that's it. That's all it is. Very, very boring. Maybe a projector. So this is what we did, and we've done 2 of these recently. Wait, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Let's click that. So this is what a normal corporate session looks like.
Looks like some of the DJ events we did.
You just hear people go. I mean, you change it up, right?
Something exciting, yeah.
Yeah, it makes them really happy.
Yes.
So then you let that go for a little bit, and then you just go to just blue uplighting during the actual session, and leave it like that.
You've got their attention.
Yes, it definitely wakes them up. A lot of these people are walking through and they're just like, okay, this is really boring. They're asleep. So I'll show you another video if we have enough time.
Yeah.
About another one that we just did. So this is kind of something a little different. And forgive me, this is several years old, so you can see my ugly cables down there. Of course, everything's battery nowadays. But this is a nice little add-on that we did for this that event I just showed you. Out in the hallway, as everybody takes their breaks during the from the sessions, there's usually about 10 or 15 minutes in between each session. So they wanted to kind of get a visual cue out in the room or out in the foyer to let people know when it's time to come back in. So this is what we did here. Here's your 10-minute notice, goes green. 5-minute notice is yellow. And then 1-minute notice is red. And then your 30-second notice is get your butt in this room. That was just like this weird little, interesting, just something different to do with your lights, really. But that's some kind of fun stuff. So I had to use this title because I love this song. I Can Make Your Hands Clap. Got it. Now I'm going to get that stuck in everybody's head tonight. So, but this was an event we just did last night. So I took some video of this because I like when I capture this.
Yes.
It's a corporate event with an awards banquet type event. And, they're calling everybody up. And of course, the DJ, you're always going to be playing the walk up music, the stinger music. And that's always great to fill in that time when they're walking up. But as lighting, you can also enhance the room as well. Jeremy Breck talked about using his moving heads on the walls to kind of move them back and forth to make it look like the hands are clapping. And I thought that was awesome. So this is kind of similar to that with just using your uplights. And you could probably just flash them. So every time somebody's clapping, here we go. Just a little enhancement.
Chase, yeah.
And then just let it go back to normal.
Yes.
Yeah. So the cool thing about that is the, just flashing them, just an odds and even. I mean, if you're addressing all your lights, either as just one or two address, or we always do an individual address for each light around the room so we can do full sequential wave programming. But that's just grabbing the odds and evens and turning them on and off, whatever color your event lighting is. So that was some fun there. How are we doing on time?
I'm dead curious about the radioactive Smurfs.
Yeah, we got about a minute left. Can we hit that one
Yeah.
in a minute?
Exactly. Oh yeah, definitely.
Great.
So the radioactive Smurfs. This is just a really simple concept. When we put our lights down at the beginning of the night, usually it's in the afternoon, maybe there's sunlight coming in, the ballroom lights are pretty much on full. You're probably going to have your lights on full intensity. But as you progress throughout the night, the room lights come down, the sun goes away. So if you're using your lights on full intensity, and most of these ballrooms are a little smaller and our lights are getting more and more powerful, you could actually just envelop the entire room in a single color. And that's what I always say, the blue. We call everybody radioactive Smurfs. So I encourage people to just turn down their intensities later in the night as needed, as is appropriate. And again, if you then sell this to your client, because I've had some clients ask me, say, I don't want everybody to look purple or look blue or look sickly all night long. They want it to look natural. So we always say, don't worry, we'll control the intensity so everybody doesn't look like radioactive Smurfs. So that's my little nugget there.
Good tips, great ideas.
I've got some good ideas from this session.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Jeremy,
I can breathe.
Jeremy does a wonderful job with his lighting and production things.
Yeah, I'll get out of full screen
Yeah,
now.
pop out of full screen and we'll
There we go.
wrap up here. Go back to gallery view. Jeremy, if people want to get in touch with you because you've got so much great information and we couldn't even touch it in our 10 minutes time.
I know. I just like,
Boom, boom,
here
boom,
you
boom. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Jeremy at karmaeventlighting.com or just at karmaeventlighting.com, and this is KARMA.
Great stuff.
Facebook, Instagram, wherever.
Wonderful. We got a bounce gang. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We got to switch video players, and we'll be back with Mauro and talking about, well, I'm not sure. We've talked about 4 or 5 different topics. We'll see what Mauro's up to. Thanks, Jeremy, for being with us.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye. See you later.
Thank you.